everyone to the 8th edition of Women's Empowerment Hour, brought to you by learmedia.tv. My name is Siobhán Gannon. I'm a founder of Embodied Soulful Living and Yoni Awakening, a journey of self-discovery for women. I'm an advocate for sexual wellness and self-pleasure for women and girls. I'm also a sexual wellness and relationship coach, self-development mentor, intuitive healer, soul guide, speaker, teacher, and life coach. And you can find me on embodiedsoulfulliving.com. And I'm delighted to have my lovely guest today, first guest, as we had a bit of a break for the summer. And her name is Trish Grimes. So you're really welcome, Trish.
Thank you, Siobhán.
And I'll just tell you a little bit about Trish before she starts, and then she can expand on it. So Trish is a coach and business health strategist, and is founder of Your Business Beyond, which is a Northern Ireland-based business coaching firm. So she's working in this field for about 40 years, and she's helped thousands of individuals achieve the best outcomes they've wanted in life, career, and business. She's passionate about reflexology, and also she's a Reiki master. So she loves all the energy side of things as well. And she's here to tell us today just a bit about her background, how she got onto this journey, and some tips for us for aligning business strategy and her intuition. And really looking forward to seeing all the golden nuggets you have for us today, Trish. And I know Trish is also a QTT practitioner, and so am I. So that's how I know Trish. And she's amazing at what she does. So a really warm welcome. Trish, delighted to have you on as our first guest this season.
Thank you so much, Siobhán. I'm delighted to be here on Women's Empowerment Hour. Isn't this just fantastic? Absolutely. Love everything you do, Siobhán. And I've got the experience of working with you as well, which is absolutely amazing, and all your lovely clients. So it's a privilege to be on your space. It really is. Well, yeah, I'm Trish, as Siobhán has said, Trish Grimes from a little place called Beara outside Omagh in County Tyrone. And I started out my career a long number of years ago. I think maybe we'll leave the number of years out in the future. But yeah, I started out my career in the civil service. Then I took a short break just to look after 3 children. So married to Francie, we're 43 years married, and we've 3 children, and we now have 5 grandchildren. So I'm a granny and a mum and a wife. So when I returned to work after my youngest son went to school, I had all intentions of setting up my own business then. And then my idea was around having, it's what you'd nearly call today, Siobhán, as a virtual assistant. And that was my idea years ago, to have like a typing service or administrators. That was what I loved to do back then. But anyway, I took a job because the opportunity came up. And I ended up staying in that job for 30 years. Mm. So that's an example of just going with the flow. Now I loved what I did, and I did what I loved. So I suppose I may not have stayed so long had I not loved it. But really the work that we were doing was all around empowerment. It was all around retraining, reskilling, upskilling people that were disadvantaged in the labour market, and people that wanted to come back into work, and people that wanted to set their own business. So from a very early age, I was coaching. I didn't know what coaching was. And in those days, it was termed advice and guidance. Mm. So, and just to set the scene and suppose put it into perspective, off I went to get a qualification in advice and guidance, because here am I thinking, I come from an administrative background. Who am I to be giving advice? But I just loved seeing the potential in people.
Yeah.
I love that whole sphere of saying everybody's so unique. So, I went off and got my qualification in advice and guidance, and then I discovered coaching, and I thought, well, who am I to be coaching? If I'm challenged in this, who am I to be coaching? So off I went and got my diploma in coaching, life and business executive coaching. And then I found the NLP.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it just blew my mind as well.
Yeah,
how quickly NLP can transform limiting thinking, limiting beliefs, just to transform your life. So off I went on the journey of NLP, and that's when I found QTT, Moira Geary, and she had been on some of the courses along with me on NLP, and then Moira had taken it to a whole new level of QTT. And of course, I followed down that road of QTT as well.
Yeah, amazing.
But just to backtrack a little bit, when I was in the career in the local council, it was administration. So I was following an MBA route in management and administration after, because I didn't go to college. So I came to education after my children were born, and I was following the route of the MBA, and I realized that I had found this coaching, NLP, advice and guidance. So I moved away from the MBA route and took the master's in NLP. So that gives you a bit of background where I came from in that regard. But really and truly, I loved the work we did, and hundreds of people's lives have changed. So we started seeing potential for the local community, and at that stage there was lots of funding for Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland and transnational and all of that there. So we saw opportunity to close gaps in the market around employability, around training, around personal development, around self-development. So we drew down loads of funding then, and then that meant I had a team of staff around me. So that was a new step as well. So I have had many years of dealing with beautiful people of all kinds, of all abilities, of diverse range of personalities. So I've always loved working with people.
Yeah.
So that's my background basically. And in my own journey then, I retired about 6 years ago. I saw an opportunity to retire. I still had this business idea in my head, Siobhán.
Yeah.
And I took a little bit of time out then because my twin granddaughters were born and I wanted to spend time with them. But now they're 8.5 and the others are 5 and 3 and 7 months. So, and the ones that are younger live beside me. So I'm getting loads of quality time. So here I am back then to this business that I wanted to run, albeit slightly different. So the reason why I came to where I'm at today around, authentically showing up as me in my business, I struggled with that a little while in the last wee while because I have followed loads of gurus, I've done the courses, I've been on the trainings, and I've, done the sales trainings, I've done the marketing trainings, and there was something wasn't sitting quite right with me. Yeah. I was trying to follow the sales script, trying to follow the guides, the webinar guides, trying to follow how to market Facebook, and I knew there was something out of alignment. Mm-hmm. So that was where I came to actually stop looking outside of myself for the answers and start looking inward. And when I look back at my career, a lot of my decisions were made on gut feelings because we were in an arena where we were breaking new ground all the time because we were creating new programs and breaking new ground. So and I had stopped in the last wee while when I started in this new business journey now myself, had stopped trusting that.
Yeah.
And I'd done a wee bit of work with you as well, Siobhán, and you'd helped me, to realize that, realign the whole chakras, and that your whole sacral chakra, I think it was you that said to me, that's your creative space. That's your, nurturing space. That's your new beginning space. So then I started to work in. So that's what has been leading me to come up with, that whole, how many of us are really living our true authentic self. I wasn't.
Yeah. And I don't even just my experience with you, I'd only see you as been so authentic. So
yeah,
I suppose that's the space you're in now. But even there where you're talking about there's so much available to us on the outside, like, webinars, there's one thing after another, and it can be really mind-boggling, and it actually can take you straight away from the old thing of just tuning in and finding out what's right for you. So we can actually get caught up in all the noise, can't we? And you find a lot of women starting out in business as well, and me included in time. There's so much out there. It's like sometimes you just don't know where, and you're in so many groups. You're parts of so many things, and you can actually just lose track of actually your why, why you're doing it in the first place. You can easily get sidetracked. And I find a lot of women coming to me in that way would be kind of losing their sense of self in it, where it just becomes about the strategy and they're forgetting about the feminine aspects of tuning in and all of that. So it's all around the masculine, you know, on the outside. So that's definitely changing now, isn't it?
It's definitely changing. And for me, I love the mindset piece. I love the mindset piece, but equally like the strategy, because without the strategy, you know, nothing gets done. You need to take an action. And when I say I wasn't my authentic self, you know, it was really, really hard work for me to actually, I was always in my head thinking. It was always coming from an authentic place, but it was always from a headspace.
Yeah.
As opposed to how easy, Siobhán, it becomes when you come from your heart space. It's like a difference of day and night. Yeah. You'll always show up authentically, but when you come from this heart space, it just makes it so easy. Is that, would you say that experience?
Yeah, definitely. It's a shift. And that's why I suppose when you get too caught up in the external, what's that, you're in your head and you're losing the connection to yourself, which is where all the answers are really. But of course you need the strategy. And I love all the doing bits as well. And I love the motivation and the, you know, the dopamine rush of the ticking the boxes and doing. I love that part. But I find that, you know, you just have to have the two working well together. If I'm too much on one, I find I'll be great for a week and then I'll come down and next minute I'm overwhelmed. So dropping into the heart, into the body, and actually getting the, you know, the intuitive hits or information from there as well is imperative really for just, you know, aligning and actually, you know, manifesting what you want in your business and all aspects of your life. So it's constantly about bringing it back, isn't it? Bringing it back internally. What's going on inside is, you know, what's going on outside is a reflection of what's going on inside.
Yeah, and the thing that that had come to me in the recent months is, you know, the way saying you're constantly bringing it back. When you actually come, I have actually turned inward, and you don't really have to then come as much back as you are there going forward.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And there's some statistic out there that says it's 80% mindset, 20% strategy. So we do need the both. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And you said there you had 5 points you were talking about, like tips. And the first one was love, wasn't it? So
first one was love. And you and I had this conversation. We were saying that love, you know, what has that got to do with business? Well, first of all, you know, what I have found in my experience, and I suppose I can only talk from my own experience, when you love what you do, you don't work a minute in your life. You do what you love. And you know, the next thing is, you know, if you don't love what you're doing, how do you expect your clients to love what it is you're offering? So we really, really need to have a passion for our business. You know, as you've said, that fire in your belly to get up in the morning when that dark day, or when, you know, when the internet doesn't work, or when you have these challenges, that thing that drives you is your passion, that love for your business. So we all love our businesses. We all love our businesses, but every day to do what we love, it doesn't become a job at all. It just becomes a passion that you can fulfill, especially when you're helping other people on the other side. So the first one was love. You know, love what you do what you love. You know, other people, you will want other people to love your products and services, so you need to love them as much as you want them to love them.
Like walking your talk, isn't it?
It's
like you know, embodying, you know, bringing that into body, everything that you do. Because what do they say? No, like, and trust, isn't it?
No, like, and trust.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're not resonating with what you're doing, that's the vibration you're sending out, isn't it, energetically?
And that comes on to belief, you know, the beliefs and the stories we tell ourselves, Siobhán. You know, sometimes when we're starting out in business, we're thinking, you know, who am I to be doing this? There are people out there doing this better. There's people out there more experienced. There's people out there doing it longer, you know. But that comes on to another point. The third point is your voice. Like, your voice would be different from the voice out there. And, you know, we know very high profile personal development gurus like Tony Robbins, and they're very high energy, you know, very highly, it's all high energy, go, 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 go. Some of the rest of us can get the results without that high energy. So our voice is different than the likes of Tony Robbins, you know.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, but he's made a lot of change, helped a lot of people in the world. But not everybody's going to be like Tony Robbins.
Totally,
but we can take the principles, we can take the foundations, and we can put them into our own authentic voice. And that's where I've, really, you were always looking at what's the strategy for this, what's the strategy for that. But the strategy that works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah.
So it's really, really key to, and I mean, the why, we talk about the why, and I'll come on to that in a wee minute. But the other piece of guidance what I had got was, love. That love is the first thing. Have the love for your business, have the love for what you do. Have the love if you have employees, look after them. The big brands are all loved. There's trust there. They set the trends. They make their customers happy. They respect their customers. They respect their employees. So there is, in essence, love there. So it's got everything to do with business. The next point is listen. Listen to your heart. Listen to your gut. Listen to your intuition. And be kind and gentle with yourself, because you are different from the next person. And the way that you're going to express yourself and help another person express themselves is going to be different than the person down the road. So there is a place for you and me, because it's your vibe will attract your tribe. So don't underestimate what we do. We might do it differently, but we still do it our way, and there's people out there will resonate with us.
And that's where I think, Trish, as well, if you just bring it back to beliefs, even to mindset, and you talk about intuition and even going into the QTT aspect, NLP, it's a subconscious mind and how our experiences shape our reality. So it's like bringing it back to that, even the experiences you've had in life, your vibe in some way is going to attract in particular people to you from your past experiences and how you've overcome them.
Yeah.
So that's going to impact your business, really any business you do.
Yeah.
The vibe is, it's that vibration, it's that resonance with, that maybe you've overcome something, or what have you used, or, so beliefs going into the subconscious mind and realizing, that, that's the driver, isn't it? 95% of our driver or motivation comes from those past experiences. So tapping into changing those as well, if people are having issues around, self-esteem or self-worth, or feeling that, there's so many people out there doing the same thing as me, so there's no room for me, or comparing, comparison's thief of all joy, when people are comparing each other all the time, or people that are doing the same things as them. As opposed to, I think you mentioned later in the things as well, just about modeling. You can model different aspects that actually just resonate with you, but it doesn't have to be the whole person. You just take what you need from somebody who's already achieved what you want, which is a great thing to have, as opposed to going the opposite way, if that makes sense, where you start to compare, or you bring in the competitiveness. You should use like what's available to you. So learning from others as well,
Learning from others is a big thing, because somebody's, none of us are creating anything new. Anything we're doing has been created before, and the thing about it, success does leave clues. So one of the big teachings that I would have when, with my clients, is to model success, whatever success means for you and what that looks like for you, and who are the people, who are your heroes in that field. But as you rightly say, you model what it is you need to model from those people, and then you bring yourself to that, and that's what makes you the unique individual that you are. But modeling, it's about not reinventing the wheel. And this is where I think we get our energies stuck, a little bit stuck. Well, I can only speak for myself personally. That this model is working for this person, so I should be fit to do it that way too. And then when we get into that nitty-gritty of that, then our brains are thinking slightly different.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to bring, where I feel I need to bring it back. And I feel, my clients bringing it back home to your essence, because there's only one you, there's only one me. We are actually unique, and working with hundreds and hundreds of people, there's no two people the same. And there is that special uniqueness within each and every one of us. And that's what I always enjoyed doing, helping that individual peel back that onion just to get to that core of who they truly are.
Yeah.
So that they can actually put their energy, their essence, their inspiration, their stamp on their work, so that somebody out there that will resonate. So it's like putting that pebble into that water, that ripple effect's going out, because you're sending it out. So the vibe is coming back, and the people that are going to be attracted to you are going to be attracted to you, and you're going to be able to help them on that level that they want to be helped at that time. So it all comes back to the energy. It's beautiful, beautiful work. I'm not sure that I'm, articulating it really, really well, but it is about your true core essence, the essence of who you are, the essence of your vibe, the essence of your, of your inner wise self. And it's about tapping into that inner wise self, because we, and only we, know who we are. And sometimes we rely on other people, and we rely on situations outside ourselves to shine the light on us, and only we can shine the spotlight inside.
Yeah, and I totally resonate with that. And I think as well, when I suppose, we're all on a journey, and especially if you're in a business, you're going to want to be up-leveling all the time, and being the best you can, and having the information, to serve your clients and yourself as well on your own journey of growth and evolvement. So, lots of women then would be adding courses, and different things to evolve and to upskill. And I find that even now in sexual wellness, again, it's like a whole new template. It's like what I'm finding now is that I'm going to be coming out with a different way of doing it, because the way it's done doesn't really resonate with me. And it's kind of something I've been journeying through for a few weeks, actually. So, but that has happened to me with every course I've done, really. But then sexual wellness is such a big thing coming forward as well. It's very important as we're journeying forward into the new era. But it's it's a thing to kind of realize again that you can do the learning, so you have the techniques and you learn all of that, but you don't have to model yourself on the way the tutor is teaching you, herself or himself. And somebody said it to me years ago: just take what you want from each course.
Yeah.
You kind of learn the tools and techniques and how it's done, and then you bring it back to yourself, because you're going to bring it differently into the world in your own unique way. So often I've found women over the years coming to me, and again, when I started to do new things, it's about then finding how you're going to express it through your own vibration, your essence, all this new stuff you're learning. And sometimes you can get caught up in another person's energy, and it's not that there's a judgment, it's just that's not the way that it feels right for you to express it. And lots of times after I've done a course, you can actually get lost in that if you're not tuned in enough.
That's exactly what
yourself. Checking the heart, checking in with the gut as well, and saying, does this feel right? So the energetics and tapping into the intuition with the business side of it, and implementing and making decisions, making a really good decision. You have all the logic, but you really need to say, does this feel right? Because your body's going to give you that information. Your body has that information. It'll tell you through feelings, as you say.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's where, just coming new to each day with that in mind, does this feel right for me? Coming new to the day and just checking in with that day, is what you're doing feeling right for you? Because sometimes we can get caught up in other people's stuff.
Totally, yeah.
And sometimes we can react. So we're not always in control with what happens to us, but we're always in control of our response to it. So it's about maybe setting up your day, Siobhán. You know, is there a routine, or is there some sort of a ritual that you do every morning, just to come new to each day and come new and just tap into your inner wise self each day and check in on yourself? And that, I found in the last little while, has actually set me up every day.
Yeah.
On the path that I want to be on. And, you know, it is about giving ourselves permission to be who we really want to be. And when we give ourselves permission, then we're giving other people permission as well. You know, it's like somebody having a candle. It takes nothing away from a lit candle to light somebody else's. You know, so when we give ourselves permission to come new to each day and to tap into our authentic self, we're giving everybody we touch along the path that day the opportunity to be true to themselves that day. And, you know, that's where I've been coming from this last week, while, and it's been really a beautiful space. It comes without struggle, it comes without stress, it comes without all that graft and all that hustle.
And that's very much three-dimensional, isn't it? That whole of kind of doing business, really. And you see, I suppose in the circles we're in as well, in the holistic health circles, more people are familiar with the third dimension, fourth and fifth, and just the way that, so the third dimensional is that kind of when you feel yourself in the struggle, that's where, you know, or procrastinating or all of that kind of stuff, that's when you're really in that kind of lower vibration of pushing, you know, or you have this need, you know, so the desperation of whatever, you know, so when people get stuck in that, sometimes it's just to be aware that when you're feeling that in your body as well, that dense energy, do you know, when you feel heavy in your body, so it's bringing in the energetics there as well, that you know that's that you're in a, you know, that dense energy, and to, you know, even first catching that and realizing, okay, I'm not feeling so good, or I feel stuck or whatever, and as you say, building, you know, creating habits, routines. Like I do meditation. I don't get out of bed in the morning, but I have to tune in for at least a half an hour. I always set the clock early. I just need an hour, half an hour to an hour before I even function. If I have to go out before that, I'll be a bit dopey until I get that. I just need that space. So I always set the clock early. And that's been a habit for years now. I just need it for myself. I know how much, you know, how much space I need to tap in like that, because I'd be sensitive to what's around me very much. So I know I need that. So I think we all know we need what we need. It's just about actually tapping in and dropping into the heart and asking your heart what it is that you need from me today, you know, or, you know, what do I need in order to if you want to accomplish something, what is it that I need first for my body today, for my emotional health, for my mental health, in order to, you know, create what I had intended to do today.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might get the answer that you have to do something. So you maybe need to go out for a walk, although you've already decided you wanted to do a few things. That walk could actually just turn your whole energy around, and you'll actually get more done than you anticipated. But if you're going around in your head and overwhelmed, like a, you know, call it a headless chicken, then it's like you never really get anything done. Suddenly you're at the end of the day and nothing's done. But when you're in your heart or you're in your body, you tend to get a lot more done in that way, and it's with less stress. You're in a different mindset, you're in a different vibration. So
it's that gap, Siobhán, between knowing and doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm smiling myself, you know, I know this is the thing I should do every day.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know for you, because you say you don't get out of bed until you do it. And that's probably a habit I need to actually embrace, because I am out of bed, and then it depends who else is in my environment, whether they dictate what happens first. So sometimes people in our environment can dictate our day if we are not in control of it ourselves. So it's morning ritual is very, very, very important.
And then taking it back as well, I think, to the body, when if you're sensitive to other people's electromagnetic fields, their energy, it's kind of knowing where your energy ends and another person starts.
Yeah.
So
it's all about awareness, isn't it?
Awareness.
Really, yeah. And you can't be really aware or tuned in unless you're actually
exactly
down in your body and not out of your head and down into your body. And Moira Geary always, that's the first thing she tells us, Moira, is to drop your awareness into your body.
Yeah.
And that's a practice. I'm not sure if all of your listeners or all of your viewers would be in the habit of doing that, but I have found that that's like a difference in day and night.
And I suppose we're in that, like that fourth dimensional energy now of the heart. So that's where the openness is as well. And like even with the sexual wellness I'm doing now, the embodiment work, it's all about the embodying. So being in the body more, instead of being, where, people go through traumas and stuff like that, and they're not in their body, they're not connecting in. So connecting back first heart, and then checking in with other areas as well. So yeah, intuition is everything, like really, everything. Yeah, and building that muscle. And things get easier when you know where your energy ends and somebody else starts. There's a total different, you have a totally different day.
Absolutely.
Otherwise you're mixed and you don't know where you are. But ungroundedness or being too much in the head and overly focused on things that you can't control will leave you in that space. So when you drop in, I think you naturally just start to see, what is in your control.
What is in your control? And I mean, I would have been in that headless space, working, grafting really, really, really hard. And at the end of the day, not getting very far, but following the script, following the, and taking yourself out of alignment with your heart and your head and your gut. And, and I suppose it's about awareness too, Siobhán, isn't it? It's really about, maybe I needed to go there myself and maybe others don't, to understand how important it is to come back home to yourself.
I think everybody goes there and comes back. I think it's part of our journey, isn't it? Because we do forget sometimes, and it's I think it's just embodying it at a deeper level how great it is to be in that space, and we have to kind of be reminded, don't we?
Yeah, I was.
But it brings you to purpose as well. It brings you to purpose there, what you were saying as well, having that, aligning with your purpose.
Yeah. So it brings you back to, we talked about like love, loving what you do and all the whole ethos around showing up with love. And, I think it was Moira Geary taught me this as well. Moira's a great teacher of ours, but Moira has, I think it was taught me, there's only two emotions you can come from, and that's either love or fear.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're showing up from a place of love, then you only ever want the greatest good for you and for the person that you're dealing with. Whereas you're showing up from fear, you're showing up, the opposite. You're coming from a place of fear, not necessarily that you want to do somebody wrong, but you're just fearful, and therefore you become defensive and you start to self-sabotage. So love, coming from a place of love in business is crucial.
Yeah.
So that's
and then you have all those lovely endorphins, because if you're coming from a space of love, which are all the positive kind of feelings under the heading of love, then your body's producing endorphins, isn't it? So you're feeling good. So you're in body and you're feeling good, and you're sending out those vibrations. If you're coming from fear, which would be like all of those underneath, overwhelm and, or you're feeling down or, sad and all of that, then you're probably producing like, the likes of stress, cortisol and those. So it is kind of, it does, as I say, it comes down to the feelings as well. When you want to progress in business, if you want to manifest what you want to create the business you want, then it'll come back to how you're feeling, thoughts and your feelings.
Yeah.
And how you're showing up, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. And one of the areas that particularly solopreneurs starting out in business, and sales is a very hard place for people to be when they're starting out in career, because when I think back to my career and the corporate world, like I had people behind me to market and to sell and to, the support of a marketing team and the support of an IT team and finance team. So whenever you're starting out in business yourself, you're the one that's leading the business. So you have to love what you do in order to be able to share that out with other people. And it comes back to that, you know, if you think about the sales element, so like some of my clients have found that really challenging to sell themselves and to sell their services. And when you think of selling as service, then it comes with a different energy.
Yes.
And, you know, that comes from a place of love. You want to serve. You want to serve for the greatest and high. So love is a big part of business. And then you're moving into the listening, that whole, you know, what I was getting from the listening is really tuning in and inwardly. And as you said, I think you used the word softly.
Yeah.
You know, and tenderly embracing your inner wise self and embracing the now. So listening, you know, and somebody rightly said, like, we have 2 ears. So we really should in business be listening more than we are speaking when our clients are speaking. So, and listening is allowing yourself that space in here, not to always be perfect, to have the perfect answers. We don't always need to have all the answers. Sometimes you just need to have that space to listen.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so you know, you're coming from love, listening, and then the third one was voice, using that voice. When you use your voice authentically, you're giving others permission to do the same. And it'll resonate with the people that it needs to resonate, and it won't resonate with everybody. And that's okay in business too. Not everybody will, you know, be on our wavelength. And then, as we talked about, the whole energy, your whole divine essence, your vibe attracts your tribe. It's like that ripple effect coming back to you. And then what you're coming on to now is like your purpose. It's about, and you know, this is a big piece when we're getting into business. And Simon Sinek talks about this. Have you ever watched his TED Talk?
No, I don't think so.
I'll put the link, I'll send you the link so that you can, your viewers, Simon Sinek's TED Talk is like, got 33,000, I don't know many views. It's really one of the most popular TED Talks. But Simon Sinek talks about your why. He said very few people can articulate why they do what they do.
I might have actually know it's ringing a bell. Yeah, go on.
So you know, so the keeping your why and your what front and center, and that aligned with your, you know, your inner wise self, brings you to a place where you can't go anywhere, you can't go wrong with your business because you're coming. So why is it you do what you do? So this is the questions for your viewers or your listeners. The question is, you know, why is this business that you're in so important to you? Mm-hmm. Why is it you do what you do? Mm-hmm. And he makes, you know, he talks about the example of Apple. You know,
I did watch it actually. Yeah, I think I have watched it. Yeah, it's great.
So put the link in. It's
sure. Yeah, even if I have it actually. Yeah, I have it.
Even if you watched it before, it's worth watching again. So why does your business exist? There's a bigger purpose. You know, why do we get out of bed in the morning on a cold, damp morning when there's other things going on? Why? You know, do we know our why, our big why? And some of us are so passionate just about what we're doing. We just want to help people.
Yeah.
And we don't think about why.
Yeah. So why do you?
Yeah. Your purpose, you know. So that's your why is your purpose. You know, what is your cause? Some people call it, you know, what's your point of view in the world?
Yeah.
What is it you believe that drives you to do the business that you're doing? Yeah.
And it's like, be the change you'd like to see in the world. That's always brings me back to base.
Yeah.
I'm, you know, if I go into a bit of confusion about, okay, back to your why, is this really what I want to be doing? And usually it's when I bring that in, be the change that you like to see in the world, suddenly it kind of goes, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Back in body here.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of brings up my passion, I suppose, and remembrance of why I'm here in the first place.
Yeah. And then even to dig down deeper, why do you want to be the change you want to be in the world? You know, why do you want to be the change that you want to see in the world?
Yeah.
So we can drill down. It's not a conversation to be having here, but really and truly we can drill down.
I suppose then it comes, when you're even saying that, it comes straight down to kind of the gifts I've been given are here to be shared, you know. So
Yeah.
it's about, I suppose, for me, living your best life, isn't it? And helping others, you know, raise their vibration and live their best life. And I suppose that brings, like you said earlier, you love to see people passionate. I just love to see people passionate about life. And so many women, like, you know, I'm a mum of 3 teenagers now, and they're all gone to college. And, you know, I just see a lot of, now I've got more time to, I suppose, spend for myself and my own business. But I see a lot of women and they're just not feeling that fulfillment. And it's always about everybody else, and they're not feeling it in life. And I'm really just passionate about just showing women how they can live, because they're not living, like, not the way that, you know, that they can, you know. So it's, you know, it's about bringing awareness back. For me, that would be my purpose, just back to, especially as well, back to sexuality for women. You know, we haven't been taught that kind of stuff. This stuff is really important. Because you change the generations of your kids as well. So you're changing ahead, you know, you're changing the generations ahead when you start to even just yourself do that kind of work, you know. So that's where I know with my business, that's really, and oftentimes I say, oh, I don't want to do this. Or, you know, you go through things and it's usually an inner resistance to that kind of getting stuck in your belief systems or experiences, or feeling, oh, I don't want to step out of my comfort, it's too comfortable here, now I want to go back to this. But I often leave things in order to embody something new, and then I'll integrate it all back in together. So, but sometimes I forget, and you get frustrated and you forget why you were doing something in the first place. So when you tune back in, you get the answer and you say, okay, I'm all right now. You know, so.
And it's, you know, as well, a little bit of resistance when we're moving outside to the next comfort, into the next comfort zone. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. That's just like that. That's like that self-sabotage showing up for us. And that's the time that we need to listen.
Totally,
and tune right back in. You know, well, why am I doing this? And QT and NLP, we talk about chunking up and chunking down. So sometimes we just need to dig in deep in order to chunk up, because there's always a bigger purpose.
Totally. And you mentioned here, actually, because we were talking earlier, just listen. You said lean. So the word listen, you got lean inward, softly and tenderly embrace, and now. And I think that's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's comforting.
Yeah.
Comforting. It gives us permission to pause. It's a bit like smell the roses. And that we don't always have to be go, because less is more.
Yeah.
Slow down to speed up. It's that type of essence.
Okay. And you're tuning into the space then.
Yeah.
Space between that, you're tuning into that, you know. Instead of
and Siobhán, there's so many, and you and I know it, and all of your listeners, if they're in this space, will know it as well. There's so many fabulous meditations and paraliminals, and there's lots of, you know, tools and techniques that can help us to tune in and tap into our inner wise self. You know, it's even, you know, a simple affirmation is, you know, closing your eyes and just asking your inner wise self, you know, what is the message for you today, and just sitting with that. And that's why that's beautiful, you know, lean inward softly and tenderly and embrace the now. That gives you, you know, it's like nurturing, you know, a small baby into greatness.
Yeah.
It's like nurturing our own inner child, isn't it, really?
Totally, yeah. And I think, you know, we don't do enough of that. So now I would do that. I do that a lot. If I'm feeling frazzled, I'll just sit. You ask my kids, like I'll have to take half an hour or minutes during the day. I'll do this as regular intervals during the day.
Brilliant.
And it's just because I have to, like, you know, otherwise I know I don't function as well as I can do. So I've just got myself into habits now, and embodied habits of ways of just making life easier for myself, so getting into more of a flow and just been more aware of what's going on around me, and what's applicable to me and what's not, basically.
Yeah. And the more that we can do that, and the more of us that can learn to do that for ourselves.
Totally different way of life, isn't it?
That's, because I'm coming from that space of busy, 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 full.
Yeah.
To actually being intuitively guided and getting that nudge and taking inspired action, which is, it's like really,
action is,
it's like almost like a flip over.
But we're trained so much to do the busy, and we're coming out of that now, really, definitely. And I think people in general are starting to wake up. I suppose if you look at the pandemic, it's kind of brought everybody into a different space altogether, which there'll be lots of positives in that, where people started to have to turn inwards and see, hold on a minute, what's going on? So the busy started to get, down, and a lot of people spent more time with themselves connecting. So there's definitely a shift there. Obviously, it had all the negatives as well, but that would be one point I would have taken. And I think most people would say, I actually just started to kind of nurture myself more self-care, spent more time with, with themselves, and looked at more where they were going in life, instead of just going from ahead, just keep going and not actually checking in and saying, am I feeling fulfilled in this relationship or this job, or, they just start, I suppose it's living from the soul, isn't it? You're coming from a different space. You're tapping into yourself at a deeper level, so and if you're in business and you have all of that awake in you, you have a totally different view of work.
Absolutely. And in the lockdown, as you say, and everybody out there listening will recognize, some people would have had homeschooling, some people would have partners working, and not everybody had the space to connect inward. But what they did get, a lot of the clients that I'm speaking and talking to, they got the awareness, this is no longer what I want.
Yeah.
So, and almost that's can often be the first step, knowing what you don't want.
I call that connection. You see, the minute you have an awareness, I would say you've already connected on some level to your inner being, because you've just made that awareness. I don't want this anymore. Opposed to maybe, so I call that kind of first stage of connection.
Connection, and then it's knowing what to do with that connection is the key. Some people get lost in that space between the knowing and the doing. So now that I know, what do I do?
And actually, that's what they say, Trish. If you say once you know, that's your first step, then it's, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
And then you're making the change, you're stepping out. So all these different levels of,
And in the knowing, Siobhán, is a beautiful space. And as you rightly say, it's a connection. And it's also the decision.
Yeah.
Because you've made a decision that you want to change. And that is usually huge, making a decision.
Yeah.
This is no longer what I want.
The awakening part, isn't it?
The awakening part. So then it's about, showing up from a place of love, not fear, and that's about really tuning in. And then it's about that listening, and it's about your voice, and everybody has a unique voice, and we want to hear everybody's voice, but sometimes we need to step into our courage to share that voice. And that isn't always easy or straightforward either. So it's a process, as you say, it's a journey and it's a process. But know, for each and every person that's listening back to this, just know that you are unique and you have a special gift, for the universe. And if you're not tapping into it, give yourself permission to use that analogy of listen. Lean in and, softly and tenderly embrace your inner wise self and your now, because everybody has a gift, and, everybody has a gift to share with the universe. And most of us, it's either suffocated or it's buried or it's been put down when we're, through the rich tapestry of life from, childhood till adulthood. And sometimes it just gets smothered. And sometimes we discard pieces because we don't think we're worthy, and all of that. So we need to find those little pieces again sometimes, but to know that your voice, that you have a voice, that you have a way to express yourself, and that you're expressing yourself from a very powerful position inside. It's just to know that everybody has that. That's one of the messages that I would like to share. because for a long time we all keep it buried. I'm sure, like, I can relate, who am I to be doing this?
Oh yeah, everybody.
Who are we not to be doing this? Because it's going to help somebody.
Yeah,
It'll not help everybody, but it'll help somebody.
we're all given a voice to be heard. So
yeah,
it wants to be heard.
It wants to be expressed. Yeah. And then your how is really, so your why is your purpose, your purpose, and then your how is really, what actions do you take to realize your why?
Yeah.
And then your what is really the result.
Yeah. And how would you explain then how you'd work the process? How would you do it? Like, to explain to viewers what actions?
Yeah, for the first action I would be taking is, what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? That's the first step. And if I like, for me, it's about legacy. It's about, if I can do it as a granny.
Yeah.
If a grandmother can set up a business and be successful and help other people to be successful, well, then that's a legacy for not only my children, my grandchildren, and the generations that are coming after me.
But I hope when I'm a granny, I'll be still doing it too, like you. So you're a great role model.
It's about,
not to be a granny for a while. Just
it's a great place to be a granny. But it is about, it's not about me. It's about the legacy, just to show other people that if I can do it, they can do it. And that's one of my big whys. And my other big why is to have, an impact on the greater good of humanity. So, if I can if I have a successful business, then I can make a greater impact in the world. So the more money you have, the more money you can share. The more money you have, the more good you can do in the world. So that's my bigger whys. Because, money's never a purpose, it's always a result.
Yeah.
It's what you do with the result.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So
that'd be the first thing. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you why are you not having a 9-to-5 job? Why? Because it takes an inner journey to be, particularly as a coach or a light worker.
Yeah.
Or somebody working in the energy field. There is an inner journey we all have to go through. To be.
And I suppose, like, for me, it's freedom.
Freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one. One of my biggest whys, or my biggest, is to live, I suppose, my best life, or live a life that I can look back on, and even, you're talking about legacy, but look back and to show my kids that, you put your mind, you put your heart, or whatever, your soul into whatever, you can achieve whatever. And so it's a big thing for me to show them that anything's possible. And even you're saying your grandmother now, like, I'm going down that line, like, I'll still be doing this work or whatever, wherever it takes me. And I feel really passionate about women, even at that stage as well, that some women think, we're nearly ingrained in us to believe that's you done now. Okay. Yeah. You can't do anything outside. You just be the granny and you do whatever, so just to come out and realize that, the world is your oyster. It's you that, once you just become aware of that, and then obviously it's a decision you have to make whether you want to make the changes, because it is an inner journey and it can at times be challenging, for sure. But yeah, so, and I suppose it's the freedom. Yeah,
the world is so full of infinite possibilities.
Totally.
Possibilities. Yeah. So, and yes, sometimes we'll just chase after the business because that's what we think we should be doing. But until we tap in with our inner self and connect that inner self with possibilities, only then it becomes meaningful.
Yeah.
Live a life of freedom, but you also live a life of meaning and purpose.
Freedom to me, because that's what freedom is, because I'm living from my soul, from why I'm here, why I believe I'm here.
Yeah, and that's beautiful, Siobhán, because you don't have to wait till this thing out here is freedom. You're living in freedom now by doing what you're doing.
I definitely feel that. There's lots of ways to go, but I feel an inner freedom that I'm actually blessed enough to be able to do what I know I'm here to do. And I have lots more to do, but I'm in it. I'm already living it. So there is that beautiful sense of freedom on so many levels for me. And I know a lot of people don't have that. And I'd love for more people and more women, because, you know, being mums and all of that thing as well. And, you know, being the nurturer and, you know, nurturing all that, and having so many people depend on you, I suppose, in different areas, you know, for women, that everybody gets the chance to do that, to actually bring up, you know, and really, you know, live a life of fulfillment and joy that goes beyond being the mother, just the mother, like, because so many different aspects of us here. And I love motherhood. I love motherhood, but that's only one part of me.
That's only one part, and other people are on different journeys, you know, and maybe don't have children, and that's okay. They can live a life of freedom in their chosen way as well.
The chosen way, isn't it? It's whatever resonates with you, that what freedom means to you. And for me, it means living my purpose, actually.
Yeah.
And feeling, you know, that I'm going towards, you know, living the best life I can live is what freedom means to me, and feeling that I'm actually aligned and on my path. Yeah.
So that's a big part of your why. You know, that is a big part of why you're doing what you're doing. It is choice, is freedom to choose to live the way that you choose to live, freedom to do the things that you want to do. And, you know, some people think it's all about, some people, you know, money can be a driver for business, you know, because sometimes we just need to earn money, and rather than be at the beck and call of somebody else, we prefer to be in business. But money is always a result. It's a different purpose is actually driving you. Money is a result of what business brings to you. So finding your why can be really, really, that'll be the first thing. And you know what, so when you know why you're doing what you're doing, and you know, what is it then that you're bringing to your clients? What's the transformation that your clients are getting because of your why?
Yeah.
To drill down, you know, what is the transformation you want your clients to get? Sometimes we do things because we're so passionate. We know they work for us. But what's the transformation for your client?
Yeah.
What's the big benefits for them?
Like, what are you offering? You know, when you put out a service, what are you offering?
Yeah, but what is your offering doing for your client?
Yeah.
What's the transformation they're going to get by availing of your offering?
Well, that's what I mean by that. I mean, what are you offering? What transformation are you offering? When you put out a service, then lots of people say, this is what I'm doing. But I think as well, attracting your tribe as well, that when you're tuning in, everybody's different.
Yeah.
So a great thing to have is to have that tune in, to actually know exactly what you're offering, you know, each client, because it's all going to be kind of different. But you get the guidelines.
It all comes back to the inner, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
It really
because
does.
then the person can resonate more when you're on the same page as well. You know exactly what you can offer an individual as well. You know, well, having the chat beforehand is good. And I know you're going to offer a chat actually later. But having a little chat beforehand with a client as well, so you can actually individually tailor, like, and get a sense if you're using your intuition the way, you know, we're meant to, then you can really get a sense of what that person needs individually.
Yeah.
Opposed to just, you know, generic kind of, this is what I offer. You're not who I think it's Moira. Is it Moira that said it as well? Is it spray? You just, you know, spray and pray. Is it her that chooses that? I'm not sure if it is, but I remember I just thought it was the funniest thing. But lots of people just kind of put it out there, and they don't have any focus or any intention of what they actually want.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like going around with a blindfold on and just hoping for the best.
Yeah. And people talk, when you're talking about spraying and naying, you know, or praying and spraying.
Spraying and spraying. What did I say? Spraying and praying. Yeah.
Or you either way. But people talk about, you know, niching down. And I had an interesting conversation with a colleague the other day, and they were saying, you know, people think a niche is a group of people you're at, you know, but she had it turned inwardly, and she says, like, your niche is really your essence and your skills and your abilities as much as it is the category or demographic of people you're going to have to. So it's not one without the other. And then that's taking it right back to ourselves again. So your niche being your energy, being your abilities, being your skills, being your vibe, coupled with.
Totally, yeah. It's like your avatar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Except for I never looked at it that way. That's a really good way of phrasing it. Because when I think niche, I think outside of myself.
Yeah.
I think avatar, I think inside. But actually, it's the niche comes up a lot. So it's really good now to kind of turn that inwards. Very good, yeah.
Yeah, and so suppose like that, it's just summing it up, and I would get, I'd be guiding people to Simon Sinek's TED Talk.
Yeah.
And he says people don't buy what you do or how you do it; they buy why you do it. Yeah. So the why, it's all about the why. Yeah. So you really have to go inward to find out the why. But it's such a big topic, Siobhán, isn't it? Like we could chat it forward and backwards, but there's a process to it, and the process really is, making that decision to go on your inner journey. Yeah. And when you come new to each day and tap into your inner wise self each day, and you, like you say, you're checking in more than once. And to come to that awareness and to have the ability to do that must be absolutely amazing.
It is, yeah, and it's definitely getting easy. It gets easier, I suppose, when you create a habit. You're embedding it, in your nervous system, and you're creating new habits that way, and then it becomes second nature. So yeah, it is. But I rarely go through a full day, even if I'm out, if I'm in the car or something. I'll have to take 5 minutes. Like if I need it, I need it. I have to take.
That's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
And that is about awareness, as you say, is that connection to something, and you just stop for a moment. It's like that phrase, stop and smell the roses. Or listen, if something feels off tune, just be gentle with yourself and listen for a moment. That's really what you're doing when you're connecting back in, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll speak into it then as well. That's kind of what I use. I kind of I'll drop into my heart, or I'll speak into my heart to see what's there, and I'll just get the information, like, you know what I mean? So I speak into the space first, really. Sometimes you're trying to connect in and you could be overwhelmed. You could have 100 things going on, and look, we're all busy, so externally there could be 100 things going on. And if I find I'm coming into a bit of overwhelm that way, it's not always easy then to drop straight in and connect. Mm-hmm. But I found that when I started to kind of speak into it, when I say that is, I set the intention to speak into the space. Mm-hmm. And by speak, I mean also listen. Mm-hmm. The communication of speaking, but also listening. It's that inner, the listening is a really big one. And I'll actually do that at heart space, and I'll get information that I may not be aware of that's happening, but I'm not aware of it because I'm so outside of myself, or I'm focusing on so many different things going on.
Absolutely beautiful, that. So and that's the key message for the people who are listening to this today, is to get to that space of being so in tune with all of your senses.
Yeah.
That that there's something that needs tweaking.
Yeah.
And as you say, speak into it. Yeah. Listen. Some people will get the feeling. Some people will, hear. What they're. They'll hear what they need to do. So. And some people will just feel it, and some people, will sense it with their gut. And
there's so many different. I've kind of honed all of mine now, I suppose, over the years. It's kind of just become easier, I suppose, the more I've done it. But definitely, I think people's nervous system, that people are more sensitive to what's going on now. We're living in a different era, kind of altogether. So I think just, when your nervous system, when there's something going on, there's right. It's, tuning into the feelings you have in your body. They're there to tell you something.
Yeah.
And they're your navigation system.
Yeah. And for people that would find that hard, in terms of, their energy could be blocked, or, they have just protected themselves so much down through the years not to get hurt. Some people can't really get through that.
For people like that, I'd suggest going to somebody for a session.
Yeah.
Start off, because if you're in a space where you can't get in at all, that's when you go and look at, sure, even the two of us, we're on this journey. You have sessions all the time. It's a regular part of your life. We have an system, so the more aware you become, and the more you're working and aware of other people's energies and stuff like that, like it's part of self-care. It's like having a shower in the morning.
Yeah.
You go to somebody, you have a session, and you start to learn techniques for yourself, or you go to a workshop, or you go, whatever it is, you've put it out to find the right person. As you say, your vibe attracts your tribe. So, and then hopefully you'll get to a person who'll show you how to do these things and give you the tools, because it's about empowerment. So it's not having to go back to fight to somebody all the time to get what you need. That there'll be a certain time, as you know, you do reflexology and Reiki as well, where a person just is too overwhelmed that there's no point showing them the tools and techniques of how to do. They may need a couple of sessions or a few hours or even one session just to actually release a lot of stuff. Then you can bring them into the mind, into mindset stuff, and show them tools and techniques they can do on their own. But some people are so like, when I started my journey, if someone tried to show me things to do, I wouldn't have been able to actually take that information in. I was so full of stress and anxiety and different things over the years. It's now I can, and I'm using them now, but it is a process.
Yeah, I suppose that's what I'm trying to sort of share too. We are on that journey, and we're blessed to have been on that journey for a while. But for anybody that might be listening that knows that something's not right, and that they want to change something, that it's doable. It's very doable.
100%.
We can do it. You out there listening can do it as well. And you can learn the tools to do it for yourself, so that you're not always relying on somebody outside of yourself.
100%, yeah.
Actually, so I suppose that's the message. Whoever's listening, you're unique and you are special, and you have a voice and you have a gift to share with the world. And if it's blocked and you're feeling that there's something more to life and there's something more that you should be doing, I think just what we want to share, Siobhán, is that you can do it.
Yeah, 100%.
All it takes is a decision that something needs to change. And once you even make that decision, then figuring out, well, why would you want to do it?
Yeah.
Why would you make this change? Why would you do X, Y, and Z? Even getting started there, you'll find, and if you go, just be still and do that listening, just lean in, softly and tenderly.
And also, even what you're saying, just leaning in and listening. And when you make the decision, what do they say? Once you make a decision, like the universe has heard, once you actually commit to something and you decided, right, I know in my heart and soul I don't want this in my life anymore, something within you automatically shifts. Because we all have that guidance in us. So something automatically shifts once you, heart and soul, make a decision. Even if you don't know what to do next, it's something internally has shifted. The energetics have changed. And once you change the energy, you're already starting to change your outer experience.
Absolutely.
So that would be, even when you're in a space and it's the awakening stage where you've just decided, okay, I can't do this anymore. Something's got to give. And lots of people have it. For me, it was ill health.
Yeah. And me as well.
It was, And that was my awakening. Pivotal point in my journey is it was physical illness, and something just had to give. And I wasn't aware enough of myself, and I wasn't connected enough to myself to realize that I wasn't happy or being fulfilled at all. But on the outside, I thought I was fine.
Yeah.
So I was so disconnected. I mean, I must have been the most, feeling at the time, the most disconnected person ever, to coming to a stage now where I'm so in terms of being connected to myself, that I kind of know with the drop of it, and something's off in me.
And it's just so beautiful to hear you say that, because anybody out there that's thinking, well, I can't tune in, or I'm not at that space yet. Just know that you can. I think that's the message. Just if there's a will, there's a way. So if you want to, you will. And it starts with that decision. Something's not right. And reach out to somebody if you don't know how to do it yourself, and you will get the tools and techniques. And there's so many brilliant tools online, but sometimes you do need a human voice to
and look at even with your normal stuff, everything now is automated. Drives me mad. Even when you're ringing up for something, the simplest things, and you have to send emails at the moment, there's nothing better than human voice, is there, or having that interaction. Like, you can't replace it.
It's just come back to that love, where somebody's interested, somebody has a genuine interest. You've picked up the phone and somebody on the other side is genuinely interested.
Somebody wants for you what you want for yourself. Somebody genuinely wants, and to have that is amazing.
Yeah, and even that person, Siobhán, and like I've heard it said back to me, you can see what the other person wants and needs, but like yourself said earlier on, we're so blocked, we don't even know what it is. But you can't see the wood for the trees. Somebody used to say you can't read the label when you're inside the jar.
Oh, yeah, I never heard that one.
Yeah, you can't read the label when you're inside the jar. So that's where a good trusted friend or confidant, they can read the label for you and they can see it clearly, whereas you're inside that jar. That's where you get stuck. But the journey, the inward journey, is so rewarding. So transformational.
I wouldn't have it any other way when I look back. And often I reflect a lot on just the way the last maybe 15 years have gone even. And, there's been challenging parts, but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't ever want to be back in that space of unknowing, so, I mean, it's been a beautiful journey really so far. Although from the outside perspective, lots of people would think, oh gosh, God, she went through this, that, and the other. But actually, it's just made me who I am. Like, so that's it's really empowering. That's the whole thing. It's empowering.
Yeah, and that leads on to, I suppose, another point too that we talked about ourselves earlier on, that it's other people want these things for you because they think that's good for you, but only we internally know what's good for us. People want to fix us all the time.
Yeah, but they're only coming on what would maybe their belief systems or what feels good to them. Parents been a prime example, wanting the best, and I'm very mindful when it comes to my children with this as well, is just kind of checking in with myself and saying, okay, is this because I think this is what they need for whatever, or actually tuning into them and seeing what it is they need, feel fulfilled. So I mean, just having all of that awareness, just so empowering, like, in every aspect, every area of your life. We could chat here for ages.
Forever.
I don't even know if we got past the hour, so try to keep it to an hour. But it's been amazing having you, and I love chatting to you. It's so nice.
I know it's just lovely. I just hope if there's anybody listening back got some value from it, and know that they can have anything they want, and really and truly to not forget about going inside, that it's not all happening outside of them, that it really is very empowering.
Yeah, amazing.
To be able to connect in with your inner self.
Yeah.
And I think that's the message, Siobhán, both of you and I.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
To share with.
Yeah.
And listen, it all starts, it's an internal job. It's an inside job, empowerment, really.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You've been amazing now, and thanks so much for all your words of wisdom. Now, I know you're offering for viewers at the moment, you're offering
a 30-minute discovery call. If anybody feels in that space where they're inside the jar, they can't read the label, and they just need somebody, to bounce something off, or it's I would usually call it a breakthrough strategy session, and it's usually where you're blocked in some way, or you want to get another perspective, and Siobhán, I'll put the link to my calendar in your
Yeah, you can give that to me.
below the videos so that people can just book in there. Is that okay?
Perfect.
And yeah, that'd be lovely. I'd be more than happy to do that for your listeners if they feel that would be benefit to them.
Yeah. Okay, lovely.
It's always lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. We hadn't caught up in ages, so yeah. Okay, so the 30-minute discovery call, as Trish said, and that's for viewers. So the link will be attached here. So hope you got value. There was loads there. I've learned a lot of things as well myself. It's great to, and a lot of remembering and whatever. It's great to have the chat. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time with another wonderful, inspiring lady. So thanks a million, Trish, and we'll see you in the next 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.